Konami now has its own animation studio, Konami Animation. Should have been called Konamiation. Maybe it shouldn't have actually. To give us a taste of the level of animation we can see from this studio, they created a demo reel, showcasing their talents as they animate several different moments from the Yu-Gi-Oh card game lore. And as somebody who makes content on the Yu-Gi-Oh card game and the anime, this is really cool. I'll be honest, I had a big smile on my face watching this entire thing. It was just cool to see some of my favorite monsters be like animated. Now, does this mean we're getting Yu-Gi-Oh lore animes for all the different animations we see in this thing? Probably not. No, this isn't like a trailer or anything, it's just a showcase of their animation styles and everything. The archetypes that probably have the biggest chance, Dogmatica, I would like, but I'm not too sure. It's got tons of lore connected to it, so it's possible. However, the most likely case is Sky Striker. Sky Striker actually has a manga attached to it, so if anything, out of everything you see today is going to get an animation, probably going to be this thing. And don't forget that Konami owns a bunch of other franchises that they could make animes for. Think things like a Metal Gear Solid anime, Silent Hill, Castlevania. That one already exists. Ignore that one. Contra, Frogger, eFootball. You never know. The point is, there's some potential here, and I'm kind of curious to see where it goes. But for now, while we have this video on all of these Yu-Gi-Oh lore anime things, let's take a look at it and see what the inspiration's for, if there's any Easter eggs, references to real cards. Let's take a look. So we open on the Dark Magician and the Dark Magician Girl. They are being attacked by the Blue Eyes White Dragon, which could be reminiscent the way it comes in from behind of a card called Successor's Soul. However, it turns out that Blue Eyes is in a fight with another dragon, the Red Eyes Black Dragon. All of these cards are iconic monsters used by the main characters of the Yu-Gi-Oh series. The original one, it's just a great way to ease people into this animation. Everybody knows these monsters, so we're being eased in nicely. Finally, we get the Dark Magician and the Dark Magician Girl going for a portal. This is quite reminiscent of Magician Navigation, which it could be a reference to. And they're moving inside the back of a Yu-Gi-Oh card, which I guess could symbolize they're now moving into the Yu-Gi-Oh monster world for us. Here we have the Maiden with Eyes of Blue, who is herself a reference to a character called Kasara. Kasara is Priest Seto's ancient love, who sacrificed herself to become the soul of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. So this is why he has such a heavy connection to the Blue Eyes White Dragon in his present timeline. We see Azure Eyes Silver Dragon fly overhead, which is really cool. We move next into the Spirit Charmer world, and we have all the Spirit Charmers here, which is one of my personal favorite archetypes. We see Heat the Fire Charmer here with her two familiars. One of the familiars is the old school familiar that they originally had, and the second one is one that they adopted later. Area the Water Charmer with her two familiars. Special note to Gekagigo here. He has a very dark backstory, so seeing that expanded would be kind of cool. We have Ossa the Earth Charmer with her familiars, and finally we have Win, the Wind Charmer, who is with her familiars as well. Fun fact about Win, her family suffers. She's part of the Gusto archetype, and her sister, I think it is. Some bad stuff happens. This shot, everybody holding their staffs up high, this is a reference to one of the cards in the actual archetype as well. Finally, we end on Dart the Dark Charmer and Lin the Light Charmer. Moving in next to the Ice Barrier lore, this big thing is the Ice Barrier. It's used to seal ancient cataclysmic ice dragons. There's 3 of them, but the one we're focusing on here is the third one, the biggest one. This is Trishula inside of here. For story reasons, we actually see a bunch of the different Ice Barrier monsters, which are the guardians of this Ice Barrier, actually unsealing it. Why would they want to do that? Well, it's for lore reasons. They need to unleash it to fight a even greater threat. The Ice Barrier monsters that we see here, we have Daisojo of the Ice Barrier, we have Medium of the Ice Barrier, we have Geomancer of the Ice Barrier, and then I think this one that we move back into is going back to Daisojo, so there's 3 of them that are unsealing this Ice Barrier. And then of course we get Trishula unsealed himself. Cool shot. This dark and gloomy thing transitions next into the Melfy world, which is very cute and cuddly. This is the forest that they all live in. We can see all of them. We see Melfy Wally, Melfy Pony, Melfy Fenny, Melfy Rabby, Melfy Puppy, Melfy Pinny, Melfy Catty, and then we end, of course, Melfy Rabby doing the Melfy Staring Contest artwork pose, which interestingly transitions into a hard cut into Divine Arsenal AA Zeus having a mech battle against another machine. This is not a coincidence, by the way. This is actually a funny wink and nod at Konami, because Melfys, there's a lot of level 2 monsters in the archetype. 2 level 2s can make a rank 2. What's a good rank 2 monster? Downed Magician. Downed Magician when it attacks. What can we go into after that? we can go into AA Zeus. This is the only section of this whole animation thing that uses like CGI, but that's in itself a reference to how most mecha anime have CGI animations for their fight scenes and everything, but this looks fantastic. And we see Zeus fighting against the newer Divine Arsenal kind of monster, Typhoon, the Sky Crisis. Moving next, we're in the Six Samurai world, and we open on Xian's dojo. All the Six Samurais are fighting here, all the really awesome ones as well. We start off with legendary Six Samurai Mizuho, followed by her companion, legendary Six Samurai Shanae. These two work really well together in the actual TCG. We have Six Samurai Kageki. We then see legendary Six Samurai Enishi facing off against legendary Six Samurai Kizan. These two clashing is actually a reference to a really toxic Yu-Gi-Oh card called Gozen Match. It's just a floodgate card anyway, but we end this little segment with the boss monster of the Six Samurais, legendary Six Samurai Shien. Moving on next to the live twins, we have the twins Kisa Kill and Leela doing one of their live streams for people. They end their stream by inputting their secret password, which is another reference. We then transition into their real life personas, which are the evil twins. They're like thieves. We see Kisa Kill and Leela, and we end on the evil twins Kisa Kill and Leela card artwork when they're catching them in midair. But the animation in this one looked really cool. I really like this one. Finally, we move to one of the biggest lores in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game. This is the Abyss lore. It encompasses so many different archetypes. You've got Dogmatica, Despia, Tri-Brigade. There's so many. Immediately, we see Dogmatica Ecclesia the Virtuous. She's looking up the sky and she witnesses Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis, who is her mentor, I believe, in the lore. She's striking a dragon, and we see the dragon is damaged by this, getting a scar right down its left eye. This turns out to be Lubellion the Searing Dragon. After it crashes and falls to the ground, Ecclesia goes to find the dragon, but instead she finds the Fallen of Albaz, which is the humanoid form of this dragon. We get a really cool depiction of the card Dogmatica Encounter, and this is the beginning of their very long journey of ups and downs. So this is probably one of the coolest references in the animation in like the whole thing. I don't know, it's just really cool. After this one, we get a couple little vignettes of just some different monsters. Exodia being summoned, Visor Starfrost, he's just reaching out his hand, the Fire Kings versus the Atlanteans. We have Diabellesta, I think I've said her name right, just sleeping. I like this one, it's kind of cute. Sumi. And then we have all the dragon rulers fighting, and then we have the Magistus lore here with different Magistus monsters everywhere. Very, very cool. And finally, we end off with the last two animations. We have the Sulphur Cord archetype, which I was quite surprised to see in this, because it's not the most popular archetype. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's fitting because they do a passionate duelist orchestra thing, which was pretty sick. And then we move into the what I think is the big one. We see Sky Striker Ray and Sky Striker Rose both battling it out, which is part of their lore. They're fighting each other, but then maybe there's more to it. I have a whole video on tons of these archetypes, but this one especially. But this is the one that's most likely to get an anime, if any of them are going to get anime, because it actually has a manga tied to it. So perhaps we could see an anime of this. This was so cool to see. Just to see these just once. I honestly would love to see more. There's so many different archetypes with so much lore and potential for stuff. Whether it has mainstream appeal, though, is a different question. Like, can you make an anime of these things? Will the general public care? But the fact that we were even given this, there's a potential for more Yu-Gi-Oh related animes and things like that. And the other Konami-owned franchises, like a Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, horror anime could be interesting if things like that are on the table. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about each of these archetypes, well, I've got two examples right here you can learn a little bit about the lores from. However, if not, check out my YouTube channel. But other than that, thank you all for watching. Hope you see more of this. Catch you later.